Hello, and welcome to our Patent AEDY Pop-Up Practices series. My name is Bethany Seidella, and I am a member of the Patent AEDY team. We know that the supports offered in our AEDY programs look different than what is offered in the student's home school. Today, we will provide you with a brief overview of multi-tiered systems of support, also known as MTSS, in AEDY programs. Chances are you have seen this visual multiple times by now. This triangle represents the tiered supports offered to students in a school. The green section is Tier 1 and represents the foundational supports that all students receive. The yellow section represents Tier 2, or supports that some students receive. And the red section represents Tier 3, or supports that very few students receive. This triangle should look similar in your AEDY program in that if you have the appropriate programming in your AEDY setting, 80 to 85% of students will respond to the Tier 1 supports. What will look different is the supports that are offered in the 3 tiers in AEDY as compared to a traditional school. It is important to note that Tier 1 supports need to be implemented with Fidelity in all settings prior to implementing and assessing your Tier 2 or 3 supports. So this means that students should have all the supports that were offered back in their home school. So, for example, you have a student in AEDY who, through the use of the behavior assessment, shows a need for an anger management curricular intervention. You need to ensure that the student has access to all Tier 1 supports before you can accurately measure the student's progress. This is particularly important to think about as you approach the 45-day reviews. Is the intervention really not effective, or did the student not have full access to the AEDY Tier 1 supports? Let's take a look at some common supports at the various tiers in both a traditional school and AEDY. In a traditional school setting, some common Tier 1 supports include established, clearly communicated behavior expectations, standards-aligned instruction, and access to acknowledgement systems. These same supports should be available to students in the AEDY settings. Evidence of these supports include the school-wide matrix, behavior lesson plans for all, as well as acknowledgement or incentive systems. AEDY has additional Tier 1 supports. These include 2.5 hours of weekly counseling and individualized goals based on the outcome of the behavior assessment and reason for placement. Your AEDY program may have additional Tier 1 supports that all students receive, such as points sheets, peer mentors, or a social emotional learning curriculum. Tier 2 supports include small group interventions, individual interventions, reteaching, and increased time and intensity of Tier 1 supports. So, for example, student data indicates that they have a high number of referrals in the hallway during transition times. Some Tier 2 supports could include additional repetition of lesson plans, a small peer group intervention, and increased use of acknowledgments during those times. Tier 3 supports can include small group or individual one-on-one interventions, as well as increased time and intensity of Tier 1 and or Tier 2 supports. So, for the student we mentioned that was struggling with the hallway behavior, a Tier 3 support could include a one-on-one mentor that they reflect with daily. It is important that your MTSS team is meeting and checking on fidelity of implementation as well as student progress. We have many tools and offerings on MTSS implementation on our AEDY website as well as through Patent. Thank you for joining us today for Pop-Up Practices. where practice makes progress.